Hi, this video is solving one-step equations. The first thing you need to know when you're solving one-step equations is what are inverse operations. Inverse operations are the operations that undo the other operation. So the first one would be addition and its inverse would be subtraction. And if you reverse that, subtraction is the inverse operation of addition. The other two inverse operations are multiplication and division. That just means multiplication undoes division, and then division undoes multiplication. So now, when you're looking at these, they're called one-step equations because there's only one thing happening to the letter each time. So there are four types of one-step equations. And so your first type is addition. And if you look at your addition equation here, see the operation is addition. And so that makes this a one-step addition equation. The letter's by itself, and there's only one step happening to that one. Then we would have subtraction. And then this operation, when you have two numbers side by side, that means multiplication. And then when you have a fraction with the letter on the top and a number on the bottom, that's a division problem. And so now that you can identify the four types of one-step equations, let's solve a few. All right, there's one step to solve a one-step equation. And what you have to do is determine the type of equation you have, whether it's addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, and use the inverse operation to solve it. That's it. So let's look at a few of these. All right, if we look at this problem, number 1 here, we have n plus 6 is 10. Now, the reason I drew this red line is to keep myself organized, because I'm trying to figure out what needs to happen on this side of the problem to solve it, and whatever I do to one side of an equation to keep it balanced, I must do to the other side. So if I look at this problem and I look at my operation, this is an addition problem. And so to solve the addition, I need to use subtraction. And so I have to look at the number with the letter, what is happening to the letter. I'm adding 6, so I need to subtract 6 from both sides. And so that cancels here because positive 6 and negative 6 is 0. And so that leaves n equals, and 10 minus 6 is 4. And you can go back and check yourself and see. Is 4 plus 6 indeed is 10. So it is correct. All right, on the next one, we have x minus 4 equals 20. So this is a subtraction problem. Well, remember, you're undoing using the inverse operations, so that means I need to add to solve. So I'm going to draw my barrier, and I'm looking at what happens to the x value. So I'm subtracting 4. So to solve that, I need to add 4. What I do to one side, I must do to the other side of the equal sign. That again is my zero pair. And so I have x equals 20 plus 4. Well, 20 plus 4 is 24. And I can again check myself. Replace the x with a 24. 24 minus 4 is indeed 20. And so I have the correct answer again. I lost my toolbar. Let's get it back. Okay. Now, on number 3, what you have to remember when you have two numbers a number and a letter side by side is that is a multiplication problem. that means you have to multiply 4 times c. So to solve a multiplication problem, you need to divide. And so I'm going to draw my line down the center. And I'm going to divide by 4. And if you draw the fraction bar and then your 4, that means 4 divided by 4. And so over here I have negative 28 divided by 4. And so that leaves c equals, and a negative divided by a positive, when your signs are different with multiplication and division, your answer is negative. So our answer is going to be negative 7. Well, check yourself. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. So now you know the multiplication problems. All right. This problem, for some reason, causes the most trouble. This number 4 here. This is a division problem, because anytime you have a fraction, you have division. That's all fractions are, just division. So this says I have n divided by 6 equals 10. And so to undo a division, all you have to do is multiply. And so you want to multiply both sides by 6. And so that cancels here. And so you get n equals 60. Check yourself. 60 divided by 6 is 10. And so those are the 4 types. If you will practice looking at the equations and deciding what type they are first, it makes solving them so much easier. And especially when you get into 2-step equations and multi-step equations, it makes a big difference. Now, all of your answers will not always be nice and pretty. So let's look at a couple of more problems. 1-step equations with a fraction. Seriously? Guys, it's the same way. You solve the problem the same. So let me put my bar here. What kind of problem is this one? Well, there's my sign. That operation is subtraction. And so I need to undo subtraction, so I need to add. And that's just 1 divided by 10, or 1/10. So I'm going to add 1/10 to both sides. Okay, so I've done having to add fractions. So I have 8 over 25 plus 1 over 10, and I need to know what that equals. Well, the rules of fractions are to add or subtract, you must have a common denominator. So what I usually do is look at my larger number, the 25, and I try to see if my smaller number can divide into that evenly. And it cannot, or multiply to be that, and it can't. But I automatically know that 50 and 10 can multiply to get 50. So 50 is going to be the number that I use. Now, to get 50, on this first problem, I'm multiplying by 2. And on the second fraction, I'm multiplying by 5. So 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 times 5 is 5. Now that they're the same denominators, I just add the numerators, 21 over 50. So then my W has to be 21 over 50. And I will do more videos on fractions as my channel continues to grow. All right, last example. What kind of problem is this? Well, wait a minute. The number is written on the wrong side. Guys, it doesn't matter. The letter doesn't matter where it's at. That's the side you work from. You can either rewrite it on the other side, just flip them over, and rewrite it as 2r equals negative 17, or you can just solve it as it is. So this is a multiplication problem. And to solve a multiplication problem, you have to divide. So we're always working from the letter. So we're working from our r here. So we're going to divide by 2. And remember again, signs are different. My answer is going to be negative. So I'm going to divide 17 by 2. I'm going to get 8. That's 16. Subtract. Bring down the 0. And 2 into 10 is 5. So I'm going to get R equals negative 8.5. I hope this helps solving one-step equations. Like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.